Imagine having the absolute freedom to speak your mind, print the truth, and shout your demands, only to realize the government can acknowledge your voice and still choose to do nothing. Since the end of the Vietnam War, Utah has operated as an unexpected sanctuary for global refugees. This photographic record of a family arriving from Southeast Asia marks the beginning of a decades-long history of welcoming those fleeing conflict in the Balkans, the Congo, and Somalia. These origins shaped the perspective of two sisters who fled Libya after the Arab Spring and eventually enrolled in a Utah law and justice course. Their analysis of American law is grounded in the lived reality of geopolitical collapse. For those who have survived authoritarian regimes, constitutional rights appear as active tools for survival rather than passive political theories. Many Americans view freedom of speech and the press as their ultimate constitutional protections. These act as essential diagnostic tools. This diagram shows the citizen node broadcasting warning signals, publicly debating issues, criticizing leaders, and exposing corruption. However, these signals carry no internal mechanism that compels the state to react. A government can monitor every broadcast while remaining completely stationary. The power to force a direct confrontation with authority comes from the most overlooked section of the First Amendment, the right to petition and assemble. The right to petition functions as a democratic gear that turns awareness into action. It provides the legal standing to demand a specific remedy, converting a public grievance into a formal claim for redress that the government cannot legally ignore. In the 19th century, the abolitionist movement utilized this right to reach a Congress that had essentially shut its doors to the issue of slavery. This 1688 protest from Germantown shows the earliest roots of this strategy. By the 1830s, abolitionists were flooding the Capitol with hundreds of thousands of petitions, which physically forced a resistant Congress to acknowledge and debate slavery on the floor. The women's suffrage movement later scaled this approach. They used massive, coordinated petition campaigns to demonstrate a level of public demand that politicians could no longer dismiss as a fringe concern. This official joint resolution was the direct result of that relentless public pressure. The right to petition converted disenfranchised voices into a legislative mandate that the state was forced to ratify. This process armed citizens with a lethal legal weapon, establishing the right to demand accountability through the legislative process or by filing suit in the court system. Today, that same right protects modern civic action, ranging from massive digital campaigns to the class action lawsuits that target institutional negligence. Friction occurs when government bureaucracy attempts to hide behind red tape, ignoring public demands until the legal pressure of a petition or a lawsuit becomes too high to sustain. When institutional silence persists, the right to assemble allows citizens to move the conversation into the physical world, bringing thousands of bodies into the streets to force a response. Governments often respond by deploying the National Guard. Because federal law bans the use of active duty military for domestic policing, governors use the Guard to regulate the time, place, and manner of the protest, and attempt to manage the disruption without technically revoking the right itself. This intervention highlights a permanent tension. While the government may attempt to control how you protest, the right to petition keeps the legal pathway for redress open. The First Amendment is a complete engine. Speech exposes injustice, the press broadcasts evidence, and petition provides the force to lift state indifference. This system transformed politics into a continuous conversation between the people and their leaders. Libyan students recognized the Constitution as a toolkit designed for the specific purpose of challenging authority. Democracy exists as a perpetual machine that relies entirely on everyday citizens exerting the constant pressure required to turn the gears.